Folks, I'm your host, BKP. We're coming to you live from downtown Blue Ridge every Friday morning. And it's great down here. You can hear in the background most days. You can hear the train whistle that's taking off on Friday mornings here, a train right here in downtown Blue Ridge. So it's great to be here. Scott Farrell Show every day now, Monday through Friday. Scott Farrell Show 10 to 12. So you want to stay. He will be here today. He's doing his show right here at Sycamore Crossing. And we did find out it's official. Lonnie does pay attention. Okay, we found that out during the break, halfway. But I'm joined now in this segment by Fannin County Chief Financial Director Rita Kirby. Ms. Kirby, how are you today? Thank you for being here.
Fine, thank you. Glad to be here.
Now, let's get right into this and go. I understand, and we'll say this, just for those of you that maybe are just joining us for the first time, there's a lot of backstory, but a couple weeks ago, a publisher in Fannin County that owns a newspaper or a publication, whatever you would call it, is Mark Thomason, the Fannin Focus. Him and his attorney were arrested on a Friday afternoon. The indictment and charges are on our website, fetchernews.com. And since then, there's been a lot of discussion of what that's about. And Judge Brenda Weaver has asked the district attorney. She does not want to be a witness. She brought the charges brought the charges before the district attorney. And she doesn't want to be a witness, so she's asked to have the case dismissed. The district attorney has written a motion to put before the judge, and Judge Weingardner, a visiting judge in Pickens County at 3 o'clock Monday, is supposed to sign that motion. Now, bringing you up to that point, officially the case is not dropped till the ink is dry. So, Ms. Kirby, I understand some things you may not be able to talk about, but what I asked you here for today is I want to read this because this is what the publication said. This came out in the Fannin Focus in the publication, and the actual quote is, he started out with some facts in relation to this case, okay? And this is the one that I asked you to be here today. Any and all information contained in a subpoena served to Stearns Bank was acquired through open records request filed on Fannin County by, so he's brought the county into it, Fannin County by Mark Thomason. Copies of the checks and any banking information were provided to the Fannin Focus by Fannin County Financial Director Rita Kirby. No banking numbers were redacted by Ms. Kirby and were disclosed through the proper open records request that was filed. Before I get you in, let me just make this clear. You have to redact numbers of Social Security. The list is long. If I do an open record, Social Security numbers have to be redacted off. I think date of birth, several things like that. Definitely account numbers where they could be hacked have to be redacted from checks, so on and so forth. Now, when I here at FetcherNews.com, I like to give you a lot of backstory. When I send you an open records request, I send an email. The title says in capital letters, open records request. Usually my first sentence will say, please consider this a request for information. Then I tell you what I want in a full email. You respond whether you're able to provide it by law or not able to provide it, or you provide it for me. Okay, and that's happened many a times. So, Mark Thomason had the checks. Russell Stookey, his attorney, came on my show a couple days ago. I asked him because I have the subpoena. So Mark Thomason put the subpoena on Facebook. I right-clicked, hit save. I don't know how many people did. Account numbers are there. Now, supposedly, they didn't have what they needed, so how'd they get the account numbers to do a subpoena? I asked Russell Stookey, his attorney that was arrested at the same time, hey, where'd these account numbers come from on the subpoena? You know, this should have been redacted if you did an open records request. He says to me, first, it's on record, folks, it's all on record. He says to me, I think Mark received them from the county attorney Doss, and then he clarified and he said, oh, no, Rita Kirby gave them to Mark. That's where we're at. Your turn.
My turn, okay. Well, first and foremost, Rita Kirby didn't give them to Mark Thomason. The checks that he received through other means other than myself. I gave those checks that he's talking about directly to our county attorney, Lynn Doss.
Okay, so now the case is still open. Monday at 3. It closes if the judge signs this. Russell Stookey, I do not know actually what can be done. Russell Stookey said on my show, the attorney, he wants a trial. He wants them to try him for this. All right, so I don't know what happens, but obviously I think the judge is going to sign this. But, okay, his accusation is they were given to you. Are you saying today that you did give the checks to somebody, but the somebody you did give the checks to was not through an open records, and they were not redacted, but you gave them to the county attorney, which folks out there, I'm not going to speak for you, but out there, if the county attorney comes in and asks for something, they have an agreement with the county. You don't have to redact anything.
No,
right.
We have the impression of attorney-client privilege.
Right, exactly.
Whenever the county attorney asks me for something, I'm going to
no matter what it is,
yeah.
You turn it over, all the information, because they are actually under the same responsibility you are in handling the information.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if they gave it to somebody, they would be as responsible to redact.
Yes, if it's required, then they would be responsible at
Right.
that point, in my opinion, to do the redaction of anything that would not be appropriate to go any further than their hands.
So for everybody out there that's hearing all this back and forth, you did give checks.
I did.
County attorney asked for them.
She did.
And you gave them to her.
Correct.
Not Mark Thomason.
Not Mark Thomason.
Not through an open records request.
Not through an open records request.
Did he do an open records request? Because he brings that into play. Can you highlight an open records request that he does? See, I don't know how he does his. Yes. I know you know how I do mine.
Yes. Mr. Thomason does his open records request very similar to the way that you do yours through email. He has asked me verbally a couple of times for an open records request.
And that's legal.
And that is legal.
That is legal.
I usually, even though he has asked me verbally, ask him to email me something so that I will have a record of that request.
Right.
So even if he has asked me verbally, I say, Mark, just shoot me an email so I'll have it. That's the procedure. I did receive an open records request from Mark Thomason for 2013, 2014, and 2015 checks that were, the first time he asked for checks that were written to Brenda Weaver, Judge Brenda Weaver, Judge Bradley, and Judge Mercier. I sent him a response back after I checked my records. I did not have any record of checks being written directly to them. I thought he was asking me for checks written to them personally, because he said he clarified then and said, no, I meant to their operating accounts or any checks that would have been written to them for operating accounts. So that's written to the Appalachian Judicial Circuit. It's not written to the judges. So when he asked me for judges, I was assuming that he meant them in particular. So after that was clarified, I then responded back that, X amount of dollars, I'd have to get 2013, 2014 from the bank. 2015 I could probably print off of my online banking, but I did not receive a response back from him after I told him what the amount of money that it
Well,
would
the bank
cost.
mirrors the checks, and they send you a CD. You don't get them anymore like the old days.
Well, exactly. There's different ways that they send us our statements. And
send you a
that type
statement,
of
but if
thing.
you want to see the front and back of the check, you don't see that anymore most part.
No.
If you ask for it, they mirror it
and send it to you.
Right. So what you're saying is you did receive the request. You gave him And this is not uncommon, folks. Just let's bring anybody into this that, if you're not used to doing open records requests, because people say, well, just give the information. I've seen somebody post withholding information. There's a red book. The Attorney General of the state of Georgia, Sam Owens, has issued a red book. They're easy to get. You can go online and get it. I keep copies of it all the time, so when I go in and talk to people about an open records request, if there's any confusion, we can refer to the red book of the rules. You can make a verbal open records request, but you are no different. I deal with 12 counties, state, and different. If I make a verbal, it's not uncommon somebody say, okay, that is legal, but could you shoot me an email just so I can have a record of it? I hear that all the time. So if you do an open records request, Kelsey over here at Blue Ridge, I've done open records requests. She sent me an email back. It could be ready on this day, and it's $12.83 or $16.33. And I did one over there that was $400 and some dollars and 80 some cents. But that's not uncommon.
Right.
So you did send back to him, because I'm trying to get clarification for all this misunderstanding. You sent back to him, hey, I've got to do this, this, and this, and what do you want to do? And that was where it ended?
That is, yeah, that's basically where it ended. I followed up with him because I did not hear back from him whether he wanted me to go forward with it, because I was going to have to do it through the bank. The bank also charged a fee for this. So the 2013-2014, the bank charge, I forwarded that to him to let him see exactly what the bank was going to charge to obtain these and send them to me. And I did not hear back from him on that, and I followed up with him again after that and still did not hear back from him. So
I got an open records request in right now to GBI. They sent me back, and they said because of the dates on it, it's in the archives down south of Atlanta, and it would take X days and X amount, and that's not uncommon. But moving past that, so he does the open records request, you don't hear back, so you've not pulled the checks, you've not inquired about the checks any further with the bank because you've not pulled them. So is it about that time when the county attorney, you're saying, a county attorney asked you for the checks?
No.
Okay.
No. County attorney, I gave the county attorney those checks back in March of this year.
All right.
When she asked for them, at that point, that's when I went back and realized that, well, there's a lot of history here. So in not getting into everything that was in the history of it, there were other things going on at that time, and open records requests that Mr. Thomason had asked of me previously, and in that time period to this time period, there had been a lot of times and a lot of open records requests that had been fulfilled through my office. So when he had asked me for an open records request about the 2013, 14, and 15 checks, I had thought, because I knew I had given those checks to someone, I had thought that it might have been him at that point, because he had been asking for lots of open records at that, back in regarding another issue. When I pulled it up to fulfill his open records request of several different things that he was asking me for, I realized I had not given him the checks. And before I could respond and tell him that, Mark, I'm sorry, I didn't give you those checks before, he sent me an email back. He said, oh, don't worry about 2015, I already have them.
Okay, two more things and we got to go. And if anything I ask is something that we need to wait for the case to close, we understand that Monday at 3, just say that, but I got two more things. Supposedly, now my side of this, researching it, supposedly the need for the checks was to look at did Rhonda Stubblefield's attorney fees, legal fees, were they paid out of Judge Bradley's operating account, is the premise of why they were looking for the checks. So I want to go here first. Can you remember if Mr. Thomason had a copy of the letter from Brenda Weaver, Chief Justice of the Appalachian Judicial District Superior Court, that asked for the payment to be made to you, to Bill Simons, Charlie Paris, and Rob Jones. Can you say off the top of your head if you can remember if Mr. Thomason had a copy of that letter?
I don't remember off the top of my head if he's got a copy of that letter. I think he received one, but I don't know where he got it.
Well,
from.
see, I know I have it, and I'll tell you what, through rumors, and we use the word, that came from his operation, that was out there. So I came up when I heard about it, and I came in to ask to speak to the chairman, and I went in Mr. Simon's office, and I said, I hear there's a letter saying that, the judge has approved to pay out of the operating budget. He said, here it is, take it. And that's how I got my copy. I'll never forget. Bill said, I got another one, take it. If you want to take it. Yeah, that's what we got this morning. Him and I talked about it a little bit. You can't speak for him, but the bottom of the letter said to all the chairmen, if you have any questions or opposition to this payment in any way, contact me. Do you remember if you know of your chairman contacted her, if there were any discussion on that?
I couldn't speak to that because
Okay.
I do not know
right.
if there was a conversation between my chairman and the judge regarding that.
But you were approved to, she sent a PO and you were approved to make that payment.
I did not make a payment.
Got it. Understand.
There was no payment.
I understand. Now, let me move past that. One more thing I want to talk about. In an email, supposedly, and this is not the quote, I'm doing it off the top of my head, supposedly to Rob Jones, the chairman of Pickens County, Robert Jones, chairman of Pickens County Commissioners Board, it was said checks appeared to be cashed. All three CFOs of all three counties, Sandy Holden, in Gilmer County, Sandy Holden, Fay Harvey in Pickens County, and yourself, just paraphrasing, released letters saying that the checks had been reviewed, and to the best of their ability, it looked as though they had been endorsed properly and deposited properly, right?
Correct.
Now, there's one thing that's different on your letter. You went another step and put in your financial background. You said, based also on my financial background before you came with the county, implying to me, when I read all three letters, I got them on the website.
Correct.
Implying to me is you know what you're looking for.
I have a background in banking, yes. And
So you reviewed those
yes.
and you stand behind that letter?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Anything we missed today?
I don't think so.
Don't think so. Now, the case closes Monday at 3, okay? And after that, then records will be open for discussion, and maybe we talk again after Monday?
I would be happy to.
Thank you, Ms. Kirby. I appreciate you very much, and I thank you for your service to the county and the citizens.
Thank you.
BKP, good morning from the office. This is my office. Don't look at me like that. This is my office on Friday. Beautiful downtown Blue Ridge. I'm coming to you from America, folks. Blue Ridge, Georgia. Hey, I'm your host, BKP. We're here at Sycamore Crossing. Going to take a brief break. After that, we're going to have, don't forget, at 9:30, our Pet of the Week. And the Scott Farrell Show at 10 o'clock this morning, which we find out Lonnie actually pays attention to. Over a year with me, pays attention to nothing. 1 week with Scott, he knows everything going on. I'm your host, BKP. We'll be back after these messages.